Edgerton High School Alternative Program, Option 2, Civics. Chapter 24, Political Parties and the Right to Vote. Learning objectives, the students will be able to explain the ways political parties serve the country, explain the roots of the Democratic and Republican parties, describe the process of electing a president, explain why the right to vote is important, and describe the laws on voting rights. Words to know, candidate, a person running for government office. Nominate, to name someone as a possible candidate for election. Convention, a large meeting of a group of people who share common idea or goals. Political party, a group of citizens who share common ideas about the way the government should carry out its work. Primary election, a state election held to help select candidates within a party. Delegate, a person chosen to represent other party members at a convention. Platform, a set of policies that a political party agrees to work for. Citizen, a person belonging to or living in a country. Naturalized citizen, someone who was not born a citizen but who became one by law. Register, to sign up. Ballot, a list of people running for government office and a list of choices about new laws. Literacy test, a test to see whether a person can read and write. Democrats and Republicans and the two-party system. Political parties. In a democracy, there is power in numbers. The more people you have working on a new law, the more likely it is that it will pass. Politics is more than just passing laws. It is getting candidates elected, joining with like-minded people, and working together to gain support for your ideas. These are the reasons people join political parties. A political party is a group of citizens who think more or less alike about government. They work together to see that government carries out their ideas. The United States has two main political parties, the Democrats and the Republicans. The roles of the political parties. They choose candidates to run for local, state, and federal offices, point out weaknesses and poor ideas of other political parties and their candidates, ask government for new programs and laws, spread news and information about party ideas, helping people stay interested in the government's work, and they help keep an eye on how elected officials and lawmakers do their jobs. The roots of the Democratic and Republican parties. Both have roots in the Federalist and Anti-Federalist groups. Federalists stood for a strong central government, and Anti-Federalists stood for a strong states' rights and strong protections of personal freedoms for people. George Washington, our first president, was a Federalist. Anti-Federalists came into power in 1801 with the election of Thomas Jefferson, our second president. They later changed their names to Democrat and Republicans. In 1789, the Federalists, George Washington. In 1801, Anti-Federalists, Thomas Jefferson. In 1829, Democrats, Andrew Jackson, and in 1861, Republican Abraham Lincoln. In 1829, Andrew Jackson left Jefferson's party to form the Democratic Party. He felt his party would better represent the common man. In the 1800s, Federalists became the Whig Party. In 1840, the Whigs divided bitterly over the slavery issue. And in 1861, anti-slavery Whigs became the Republican Party. Electing a president. President elections normally happen every 4 years. Early in the year, party leaders decide whether or not to run for office. Primary elections are held to narrow the field of candidates. Two kinds of presidential primaries. Members cast votes for delegates. Delegate pledges to support a particular candidate, or delegates are elected to the convention, and the delegate is then free to vote his or her choice. Committees form at each convention held during the summer to create a platform. Platforms are made up of programs and ideas. Each idea and program is called a plank. Platform is complete when majority of members agree. Candidate is selected and campaign begins. If the incumbent, the current president, can run, he or she is usually that party's candidate. The best outcome for a party is when its candidates win both the presidency and a majority of the seats in Congress. When the president and Congress are from different parties, the government still works, but political battles are often fierce. Third parties form when people are not happy with either of the other major parties. There are few third-party candidates that are elected. Often they are one-issue candidates, so do not have a broad platform. Smaller membership means less financial support and often less media coverage. They often take votes away from candidates, which affects the final outcome of the election. Theodore Roosevelt in 1912 was Progressive Party, and George Wallace 1968, American Independent Party. Joining a political party. You need to be 18 years old to vote, but can join a political party at any time and work for ideas you support. Most work is done by volunteers. Communities often have groups of young adults and students who are active party members, such as the Young Republicans and the Young Democrats. You do not have to join a political party. Joining a party can help you be better informed about candidates and how the government is working. Who can vote? In the United States, almost everyone over 18 is allowed to vote. Almost half of eligible voters, however, choose not to vote. In 1872, Susan B. Anthony led a group of women to a voting booth in Rochester, New York. And in 1920, the 19th Amendment to the Constitution gave women the right to vote. Why is the right to vote important? We live in a representative democracy. We choose people to represent us in government. The most direct way you, as a citizen, can influence government is with your vote. Not voting endangers your rights. The Constitution guarantees your rights, but it can be changed by your representatives. You vote to choose representatives that will protect your beliefs and your ideas. In the past, whole groups of people have been denied the right to vote and had no say in how the government ran their lives. African Americans and women have gotten the vote in the last 140 years. Voting age has been lowered from 21 to 18. Laws on voting rights. In 1776, only adult white males who owned land had the right to vote. In 1870, African American males got vote. 1920, women got vote. And in 1972, 18-year-olds got the right to vote. There are 4 requirements for voting. Number 1, you must be a United States citizen. 2, must be at least 18 years of age. 3, you must have lived in an area where they intend to vote for a period of time, usually 30 days, and you must register before voting. 4, it is against the law for anyone to take away a person's right to vote because of sex, race, background, or religion, or to use force or threats to keep someone from voting. Laws on voting rights. It is against the law for anyone to take away someone's right to vote because of sex, race, background, or religion. A person cannot be prevented from voting if they have little or no money. It is against the law to use force or threats to prevent a qualified person from voting. The right to vote can be lost in some cases. Most states take away voting rights of people found guilty of committing serious crimes. Voting rights may be taken away from people whose minds are so ill they cannot take care of themselves. Preparing to vote. Voting begins before Election Day. A sample ballot comes in the mail or is printed in the newspaper listing people running for office. Before voting, get all the information you can about the candidates. Make informed decisions. You can mark the sample ballot and take it with you to help you remember. Sample ballot tells you where and when to vote, and you can only vote at that place. If you must be out of town, you may vote by mail using an absentee ballot. Bring identification to a voting place. Someone will make sure you are registered and show you how to vote. Voting is done in private. The Voting Rights Act needs representation to have power in government. African Americans and others needed representatives who would work for them. Before voting, they needed to register. The white majority in some states tried to keep African Americans from registering by creating literacy tests. Literacy tests were tricks used to keep eligible people from voting. In 1965, the federal government passed the Voting Rights Act, making literacy testing for registration illegal. The Voting Acts of 1968, 1970, and 1975 strengthened the law. Several states challenged the voting rights law all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court supported the Federal Law and Voting Rights Act of 1975 and did away with literacy tests for good. In summary, political parties are groups of people who share similar ideas about government and politics. The United States has a 2-party system of government. The main parties are the Democrats and the Republicans. Many states hold primaries to choose delegates to the national conventions. Other states hold party meetings to choose delegates to conventions. The convention nominates its candidate for president. In the United States, a person must meet 4 requirements for voting. A person must, 1, be a U.S. citizen or naturalized citizen, 2, be at least 18 years old, 3, have lived in the area where he or she intends to vote for some time, and 4, register before voting. Here is your quiz. Good luck, and see you in class.